Battle over buses and companies like Google. Activists in San Francisco want to ban Silicon Valley shuttles. How the fight is over more than traffic. That's ahead.
Demonstrators blocked private shuttle buses operated by Google and Facebook in San Francisco Tuesday. Several tech companies use the shuttles to transport workers to and from their jobs in Silicon Valley. Some 35,000 passenger pickups a day. This seems to be about more than shuttle buses.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
The private buses have become symbols of income inequality and the belief that well-paid tech workers are to blame for steeply rising rents.
It's really a frightening time to be an average or low-income resident of San Francisco.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's what's going on in San Francisco, and joining us now is filmmaker and head of the United Public Workers for Action, Steve Zeltzer. Hello, Steve.
Hello, how are you doing,
I'm
Steve?
fine. Welcome to the show. Okay, so let's talk about, you have problems with this, these are companies, Google, high-tech companies, Apple, Facebook, other companies that provide their workers who are not millionaires for the most part. They're people who got to get to work, and the companies make it easier for them to get to work by sending these buses to pick them up. So what's your problem with that?
Well, the problem is that they're using public spaces, they're using public bus zones, and they're not paying for public services. In other words, a citizen of San Francisco, a resident, am paying taxes for a public muni system, and they're using it for free, basically. When, for example, people who use the public bus zones get a ticket, $272 ticket, they're not ticketing these buses, they're ticketing private citizens who pay taxes in San Francisco. So it's a use of public bus zones without compensation, and the dollar that they're going to be charged is not compensation for all the use of public services. It's basically for a fee for more bureaucrats at City Hall.
All right. Well, that dollar you're talking about is what the transit agency in San Francisco has agreed that every time they make a pickup or a drop off, they have to pay $1. But as the report indicated, and I think you will agree, this goes beyond this issue. This might be the technical issue. But I sense a lot of resentment. I sense the president's Mr. Division in Chief. I sense his rhetoric making its way all the way to San Francisco. This is about income inequality, and this is about the higher rents because there are successful people living there who are able to pay higher rents. So what would you like to see? These people leave?
No, what we'd like to see is more working class housing. What we'd like to see is the end of people being kicked out of their homes who live here in San Francisco. They're kicking thousands of people out of their homes by speculators and developers who Mayor Ed Lee represents. He represents the speculators and developers and banks who are driving working people out of San Francisco. Why should people have to commute 100 and 200 miles? Some people live in the Central Valley to get to their job. We need more working class housing. Instead, they're building housing in San Francisco for millionaires. You've got to be a millionaire to live in San Francisco. The working people who do the work here can't afford to live here. That's wrong. And that's basically a theft of public resources.
Well, that's not a theft of public resources. I mean, that exists in many cities in this country.
Well, that's what's going on. For example, they're giving Twitter a $56 million tax subsidy in San Francisco.
Why? Why do you think they're doing that? Why do you think they're doing it? Because they're getting free tweets? Or because the city is benefiting? Wait, let me ask you a question. Or because the city is benefiting financially?
Who are we talking about benefiting? The billionaires in San Francisco? The number of billionaires are going up, but the number of working people who are being displaced are growing in this country. You know, when we talk about income inequality, what are we talking about? We're talking about capitalism. That's what we're talking about.
I know, and you despise it, don't you? And you despise capitalism, don't you?
Capitalism means for working people in the United States, their jobs are going to Japan, they're going to China, they're going to other countries.
So what would you like to see, my friend? What would you like to see? What would you like to see? Marxism?
Well, what I'd like to see is Apple and these executives who put their money in offshore accounts be taken away. It should go to the public.
Wait, hold on. What should be taken away? What should be taken away? What should be taken away? What should be taken away?
The money that they're stealing from the public.
Oh, Apple's stealing money from the public, and Google and Facebook.
They're putting it on offshore sites where that's not being taxed. So they're ripping off.
Is that illegal, sir? Is that illegal? Is that illegal?
They control the Congress.
Is that illegal?
No, the Democrats and Republicans who are controlled by these billionaires control the Congress, and they write the laws to allow them to prevent.
So they should take money away from Apple and Google and Facebook.
No, it's not taking money away. They're taking money away from the public.
No, you said they should, sir, Steve. You said they should take the money from Apple and Google and these companies.
No, these people have control of the Congress, and they write the laws so that they don't get taxed. So the billionaires aren't paying taxes, and working people here in San Francisco are being taxed.
Well, you know that that's a fallacy. You know that people who make $40,000 or less don't pay. Wait a minute. Could I get a word in? You know that about 50% of the population pay no federal income tax whatsoever, and you know the statistics that the top 1% pay well over 50% of the taxes in this country. So when you come out with this ridiculous line about who's paying taxes and billionaires pay no taxes, that's rubbish, and you know it.
That's not a ridiculous line. Apple has billions of dollars in offshore accounts that they've gotten from the sale of their products. They're not paying taxes on it. That's not ridiculous. You're ridiculous to say that that's not true.
Is that against the law, sir? Is that against the law?
I told you the Republicans and Democrats in this country write the laws to allow them to offshore their taxes, where a regular person, you or I or me, a regular person, has to pay the taxes. We can't offshore our billions to another country. We're taxed on it.
You certainly could invest in funds that have offshore accounts if it's legal. You certainly can. Well, wait a minute.
Most working people are going week to week.
And what about the working people? Take it back to where this started, and we're speaking to Steve Zeltzer, filmmaker, head of the United Public Workers for Action in San Francisco. What about the working people who board those buses, who are not millionaires?
I don't blame them. I'm not blaming the tech workers. They don't make the decisions about where they live. They're forced to come to live in San Francisco, to live in the Bay Area. I don't blame the workers, the tech workers. They're workers like you and I. In fact, tech workers, computer workers in this state, in this country, in this world are being exploited. You know why? They're having to work 24 hours a day. They're tethered to their computer, and they're exploited by these companies.
They're exploited, and they don't know it, huh?
Yes.
They don't know it?
Well, they do know
They
it.
do, and they can't leave. They're chained to the company. They can't leave.
You know something? With the internet in the tech world, you're working all the time wherever you are.
So what business is it of yours? What would you like to see them do?
Well, you know what it is? When people don't work an 8-hour day anymore, they're working 24 hours. They're always on the computer. They're always working.
And what business is that of yours, or concern is that of yours?
I want people to have a decent life where they're not working.
And you know what a decent life is for them. They don't.
Well, I do know that when you have to work 2 or 3 jobs and you're working all the time and you don't have time for your family, that's not a good life for people.
No, but these people have one job and they're working and they're making good money, and you want to destroy it.
Actually, they want to bring in more computer workers from India to lower the wages of computer workers here in the Bay Area. That's what they're doing.
All right. So
through the immigration law, they want to bring in more computer workers when you have unemployed computer workers.
I'm with you on that one. I think immigration reform and bringing more high and low skilled workers into this country is a big mistake. That one we could agree on.
That's benefiting the billionaires.
And I think
the people who make money off.
And I think we'll end on an agreeing note then.
We can agree on that.
All right, Steve. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Bye-bye. Steve Zeltzer, ladies and gentlemen, filmmaker and head of the United Public Workers for Action. You know, the buses aren't public buses, and they're using public space. So now they're going to pay the city an agreed amount that the city's agreed to. You think the city's doing this because they all have iPhones, or they all use Facebook, and they all are on Twitter? So the city officials are saying, oh, let the buses come in. Yeah, they can only pay $1. It's okay. Or we'll give you a tax break, Google, because we like Google, because I use Google at home on my computer. No, there's a financial reward for the city, and that benefits everyone in the city. Now, on one hand, rents will go up, so these people should live there. Then he says he doesn't blame the tech people live there. But they're being abused by Apple and these other places because they have to be on the computer 24 hours a day. Right. They don't sleep. And they live miserable lives, making a very good 6-figure living in most cases, and getting a transportation to and from work. And this guy's speaking for them, saying they have a lousy life because they're always working. He's got all his bases covered, I will say that. What could I tell you? All right, folks, it's been a great show today. Thank you for being out there. God willing, we'll do it tomorrow, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, right here, Newsmax TV and Radio, The Steve Malzberg Show.